What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode 13 of the LARNE project here in Football Manager 2019. First and foremost, if you missed last episode, it was the episode of the series so far. Go check it out. It was against OB in the Europa League qualifiers. And just a second little thing, this week, as you watch this video, I'm actually away. I'm out the country, so I'm having to record some videos in advance. There may be slightly fewer uploads than you're usually used to, so that is why. Hopefully you can understand. Sometimes things come up and it's nice to travel, isn't it? But anyway, that's not why you're here. You are here, well, you're not here to see this screen, but we're starting here. Chris Eagles. Yeah, he's got a 2 to 4 month hip injury. I mean, if his career wasn't already over after the injuries at the end of last year, a third major injury in 5 months probably spells the end, which is really sad. But it does make, I guess, the dilemma a little easier for me because he was in the first team. And I wanted to drop him, but at the same time I was holding on to the sentimentals of last season and how good he was for us. Don't get me wrong, still a very, very good player, but, well, the sad reality is he just constantly is getting injured now. He's got 1 year left on his contract. I have lots of exciting young players to turn to. There really isn't a spot for him in the team. In terms of the first team, things are looking pretty balanced now and pretty settled. Have had a couple of injuries since last episode. You can see Thomas Stewart has been out. He actually suffered a twisted ankle, I think it was. Was it a twisted ankle? Was it? Yeah, it was a twisted ankle during pre-season. So he's missed at the start of the season. Also, Conor McDermott, our first choice right back, you can see he's been injured again with another twisted ankle. Apparently, ankles are being broken. Maybe we need to get the pitch relayed. But yes, those are 2 injuries to speak of. Since we were last here, we have actually played 1 game. It was the opening game of the season. It was against Berliner Mallard FC. Or rather, Berliner Mallard United. Jack just making up the end of names. And, well, it was our first ever game in the Premiership. A good little performance, this one. O'Connor with man of the match. And, well, Simmons got us off to a flyer. His first senior goal for the club, a great one. O'Connor, who ends up getting man of the match, grabbed a goal on the 20th minute. And, well, Brad Lyons got a third goal for us. And it's not the first goal he's got for the club. It was a lovely one from a set piece for him, a bit of a scrappy rebound, but he's done quite well there. Unfortunately, we couldn't keep a clean sheet. You can see Simon McLean with an 81st minute penalty ended up, well, ruining our clean sheet, I'm afraid to say. But nevertheless, a good opening performance to start the season. And while Paul O'Connor, man of the match for this guy, I am so excited about this player. Fairly professional personality, just looks like he's going to be an absolutely tremendous forward for years to come. I'm really excited to see what he can do. And, well, let's hope he can continue to improve this year. Really has been forcing his way into the first team. So, since you were last here, obviously, I talked about wanting to do an extra episode in the not-so-distant future. I think that's going to be coming up at the end of the transfer window, which is at the end of this month. I feel like once the team is 100% settled, it's a good time to do it. We have made some new additions to the team, which are worth talking about. Jared Thompson has joined us as a goalkeeper. Now, Connor Devlin has not reacted to this well. He has been AWOL from training ever since I signed Jared here. But at 20 years old, a very experienced player, Northern Irish under-21 international. Formerly, you can see here of Chelsea, was playing for Cliftonville last year where he played 29 games for them. Didn't have the best season. I'm hoping he can come to us, develop, and will turn into a good little player. Not the best with his shot stopping or aerial ability, but very good with his communication and some room to improve as well. I feel like he's definitely an improvement on what we had. I don't know if he's necessarily the long-term goalkeeper option here. But, well, he looks very good. And while speaking of long-term goalkeeper options, I'm hoping I have found that option. And it's this guy here, Ali Cowan. He's 17. I'm signed him based off how much my scouts were rating him. Since I've signed him, they're now really underwhelmed. So I'm hoping that my scouts were correct and my coaches are incorrect with their assessment of him. But nevertheless, he's got good aerial reach. He's got great handling as well, so a good shot stopper. He is only 17 years old as well, so loads of room to improve. But he's got that raw aerial ability. You're kind of born with that or you don't have it. And, well, he seems to have it in, well, buckets full. Hopefully he can grow a little bit and get his jumping reach up too, just to help him. Of course, being 17, still room for him to grow in game. And while the other player we've signed a real note, you can see here for £38,000, Ryan Newell has joined us from Crusaders. He is a very good ball-winning midfielder. I'm going to be training him to play centre mid on defend. Or rather centre mid in the position and then playing as a defensive kind of player. It's a role that we kind of lack a little bit in. When you look across our team here, if we just sort it, you can see lots of centre mids who are very good going forward. But defensively, the only real players we have across the entire team are Romario Vieira, who you'd have to say isn't the best when it comes to his defensive capability. Obviously, Jeff Hughes, who, well, his legs have completely gone, to be honest. And I want to keep him in the first team a little bit, but you can't expect him to play too much this year. But again, he is okay defensively. And then with the exception of Mule, who we've brought in, the only other real player to speak of is probably Glendenning, who is this guy. Oh, wait, no, that is the wrong player. Who is the player? What's his name? I'm trying to remember now. This is awkward, isn't it? When you sign so many players, you lose track. Is it Jimmy Stewart? It is Jimmy Stewart. This is the player I was thinking of. This guy has tremendous mentals. I actually think he is the longer-term solution, but I needed a backup player for this year. He plays for Crusaders, obviously, our new addition. In Ryan Newell, and he has lots of potential to improve, and he looks like a fairly solid player, so I'm pretty happy to bring him in. I know some people have expressed a little bit of a concern with this series that I am signing all the best Northern Irish talent. Obviously, I am. I'm not even going to try and hide that. I'm trying to, hoover up some of the best players to really develop them. But ultimately, the main aim with this series is to get homegrown players and also be a real force in the Champions League in Europe. And, well, despite our large squad, you can see we have 15 of our first-team players from Northern Ireland. And, well, obviously, the majority of these other players are British. In fact, they all are British, I think, at this point, with the exception of a few players, obviously, with multiple nationalities. But yeah, I really want to keep that domestic player kind of bias, I guess, fairly good for us. It's something that I always fail with in Football Manager. Of course, it is tracked by your kind of managerial characteristics. And yeah, I'd really like to have a core of Northern Irish players that we really build the team around. So it's kind of one of the unfortunate side effects. Longer term, obviously, I'm hoping the overall youth side of things within the country can improve. And, all the teams within Northern Ireland will be real forces in the competition. And, well, hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, we can see that going forward. So anyway, there's not been a whole lot happen. Obviously, it's been a fairly lengthy pre-season. The Europa League disappointment, I'm still not really over it. But since then, a few friendly games. So we beat Berlin Mallard. You can see today we take on Crusaders. You can see here, just 3 days after our first game of the season. If we do just look at the season preview, you can see here we are the favourites to win the league. Crusaders are second favourites, so big pressure on them to perform. In terms of the overall competition of best team, obviously the majority of the players here are our own players, which isn't entirely surprising. But there are a few exceptions. You can see here Mark Sykes playing for Glenavon. Looks like a pretty solid player, even if he only has 1 to 3 natural fitness. I did actually look at signing this guy at one point, but because of that natural fitness, I was put off signing him, and he is now 22. And the other player who kind of breaks the mould, I guess, is Curtis Allen, who you can see here is a very, very good finisher, good penalty taker as well. He actually looks like a pretty good player, but unfortunately for us, or rather, fortunately, I guess, for his team, we're not going to be able to sign him because of his age. In terms of key players in the league, I believe this is like the overall, in terms of what the reputations and abilities are of players. Our 2 players are considered the 2 best players in the league. Regis Mandanda, not entirely surprising. This guy is absolutely nutty, and he's just signed a new contract at the club. It's a 3-year deal, but you can see here it also has an optional 3-year extension clause, so that is pretty massive for him. And the other player who features here is Paul O'Connor, who I'm in the process of offering a very, very similar contract to. I really want to lock both these players down for the long term. You can see Paul O'Connor currently has an optional 2-year extension on his current deal, which only has 2 years left to run. I'm looking to extend that to be a 3-year deal with an optional 3-year extension. Both these players I want to lock down longer term. I don't want to be in a position where I have to sell them. And at least right now, while their kind of profile is fairly low, I'm hoping we can kind of tie them down to longer term deals, which mean we're not under pressure to sell them. Anyway, let's take a look at today's team for today's game. Obviously, a few injuries to Stewart and McDermott have, forced us to change a few things. But the overall team is looking a little bit different, I guess, to how it has previously. In goal, we're going to go with Jared Thompson today, making his live commentary debut. Hopefully, he can have a good game in goal. The back three is fairly standard. We go with Osin. I will be honest with this guy, okay? I've had different people tell me how to pronounce it. I've had people say Usheen, Osin, Usin, like EW scene. I'm just going to call him OC. I don't know at this point. I need a nickname still. And because I asked for a nickname and there weren't any that I was super attracted to. So this is a call to arms again. Find Usheen a good nickname. or maybe I just learned to say it correctly. Either way, we have him. We've got Ballard in the centre-back cover role. Of course, this guy on loan from Arsenal. Really like the look of him. I'm hoping we could tie him down longer term. Right centre-back we go, of course, with Michelini, who is obviously just fantastic. Still club captain too. Right back we go with Williams for today's game. He comes in. I rate this guy slightly higher than Kebby, of course. McDermott, our first choice right wing back, is out. Neco Williams signed, of course, from Liverpool last year. The young Welshman, a very exciting talent. Very, very good physicals. Loads of room to improve. First team football is going to benefit him. And while speaking of first team football benefiting players, I hope the same is going to be said of Kieran Kane here. This guy, a really, really good defensive left back. I'd love him to get better at kind of going the other way. You know, defensively he's great, but in our system, at least right now, we do need our, wing backs to be very good attacking wise, and he isn't quite there yet, but there's room for him to improve. In the centre of the midfield, we are going to go with Romario Vieira. And alongside him, we are, of course, going to go with Lyons. I really like these two as a duo. Lyons, not the best defensively, which can be a little bit of a concern as a box-to-box midfielder. But he's a very, very good going forward. He's very mentally switched on as well. I really like his work rate and off the ball. I feel like they are two very underestimated and underappreciated, I guess, elements of a box-to-box midfielder that he definitely brings to the table. And well, in the final third, we're going to go with youth today. We're going to go with Mandanda in the advanced playmaker role. And then up top, we're going to go with O'Connor, who we've already sung the praises of. And alongside him, we're going to go with Simmons, the Manchester City youngster who we signed for £120,000. So a little bit of pressure on Simmons maybe to perform. On the bench, we've got McDade, Glatzel, who of course we signed from Liverpool in the summer. Really like the look of this guy longer term. I think he could be great for us. Tommy O'Donnell, Jeff Hughes, Tilney, Kebby and McGrath. All in all, it's a very, very solid team. I'm hoping that against Crusaders here, we can assert our dominance. You know, it's first versus second in terms of the favourites. Crusaders did underperform last year. They were a little bit lacking. Missed out on European football as a result. And, hopefully we can do one over on them today. That's got to be the aim. In terms of their team, you can see quite a few regens in their mix. You can see here Blanchard, our former man, going to be playing the defensive midfielder role for them. Going to be interesting to see how he gets on trying to mark Mandanda. I'm sure those two players pretty familiar with one another after trading with each other over the last year. Anyway, let's see what we can do here. I want to tell the players I've got loads of faith in them. We are away from home, but given how good our team is, of course, I expect us to just walk into this game and give it our best. And, I'm very happy that Mandanda signed a new contract as we are being questioned about. I feel like that is absolutely huge for us. Longer term, I feel like he's the best player in our team by a notable margin, I feel like, at this point in time. I think if he can live up to the potential that at least our scouts seem to think he has, he's an advanced playmaker who I hope we can just keep at the club for the long haul, tie him down to numerous long contracts and just have him round for good. I do think he genuinely is that good. Anyway, he's got the set piece here. Show us what you can do with a ball of quality. Back post to Michelini, and it's across to Simmons, who hits the back of the net. 2 goals in 2 in the league for him. Not known for his aerial ability, really. But, Michelini with the header back across. The deep ball in by Mandanda. And, Simmons kind of bundled it over the line in the end. He kind of stoops down, gets some meaningful contact on it, finds the back of the net. 10 minutes in, fantastic start to this game. Hopefully we can keep that going and build up some momentum. You might have noticed looking at the fixtures, we have got the equivalent of the Community Shield in Northern Ireland. I can't remember the name of it, but it's kind of the Cup Winners' Cup, to start the season coming up. I'm not going to live-com that. I hope that we can win it, but it isn't a competition our board are overly fussed with. I feel like last season, we got a little bit distracted by all the cup competitions we ended up doing live commentaries in. And with this year, I don't expect the league to be as easy for us, as we're finding out against Crusaders here. And so I feel like a lot more league games are going to be coming your way this year. Anyway, I'm going to tell the players I'm pleased. A little bit concerned about complacent. So I'm actually going to ask them, kind of just demand a little bit more from them. I hope that isn't going to be too conflicting. Trying to motivate the players more than anything. Keep them switched on. You can see, in terms of stats, we're dominating possession. We've had way more shots, but just the one goal, which was from a set piece, doesn't make me feel entirely comfortable with the performance thus far. Hopefully we can, step it up here and keep it going. Neco Williams to Simmons here. Can he get the ball across? He does. To Romario Vieira, who can unleash them. Gives it to Mandanda. I'm thinking of Miranda from my Creators Cup squad. Let's not talk about the Creators Cup, Jack. It didn't go to plan this year, did it? But yes, not ideal there by Mandanda. There's 15 minutes left. I'm going to make some changes. I'm going to bring in Tommy O'Donnell for Lions. I do like O'Donnell. I think he's got a lot of potential to live up to the 18-year-old. His consistency is always going to be a little bit of concern for me, but let's give him some game time. You can see Kieran Kane at left-back hasn't had the best game either, so we'll bring in Tilney for him. And while we're on the attack here, Kane, before you get subbed off, can you do something meaningful? Whips it in. Neco Williams to Simmons, who scores again. I mean, it's a second goal of the game for him. That striker's instinct looks, well, very much alive in him, and hopefully he can continue to bang in the goals, the young Englishman. Nice assist for Neco Williams playing that right-back role. With McDermott out injured with the twisted ankle for at least a few more weeks, Williams is definitely going to have a role to play in the first team. And, well, the free transfer from Liverpool, where he was told he didn't have a future, is trying to carve out his own future here in, LARNE. And what can you say? A great goal for us there. Nice passing move. 5 minutes left. 2 goals to the good. That should be all she wrote, I hope. 3 minutes left. I mean, if we got another, it would be great. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. Maybe one last set piece whipped in. Yeah, unfortunately, Michelini with the ball tackled away from him. We could keep a clean sheet as long as they don't hit us on the break here. And, well, it doesn't look like they're going to. Thompson in goal. Wasn't really asked a whole lot of him, really. But he did everything that he needed to. We keep a clean sheet. Nice convincing performance against one of our big title rivals you'd expect this year. As I said, Crusaders last year were underperforming. So they're not the be-all and end-all, I feel like. You know, there's going to be other stiff opposition out there. We can't look at this win and kind of suddenly label ourselves as comfortable favourites. 2-0. A lot closer than we've seen in previous games as well, I feel like. You know, last season we really were spanking teams. That was not as much of a runaway, I guess you could argue. But yes, Simmons picking up man of the match. Got to praise his goal scoring. 3 goals in 2 games for him in the league. Hopefully he can keep that going. Of course, tied to a pretty long contract. You can see a 4-year deal with a yearly wage rise in it. He's not a small earner, but so far he's living up to the billing as a real striker with a lot of potential and with some pace, which I think is going to terrorise even the fastest of defences in this division. But anyway, guys, that is going to wrap up everything from me today. In terms of when we'll be back, I think we'll play it by ear. Glenavon could be a pretty big game in mid-September. I may well even do an extra episode after this one, you know, between these 2 games, or maybe it'll come after the Glenavon game. You guys will have to stick around and find out, I guess. But yes, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, please do leave a like on it. If you've got any comments, leave them down below. What are you making of our squad? What do you make of our team? I want to hear your thoughts down below. And other than that, have a fantastic rest of your day. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.